I had always prided myself on being a good husband. I worked hard, supported my wife, Kate, and believed we had a strong marriage. But that day, everything changed. I had decided to leave work early, eager to surprise Kate with a dinner I had planned. As I approached our home, I felt a sense of excitement bubbling inside me. Little did I know, that excitement would soon turn into devastation. As I stepped through the front door, I noticed the house was unusually quiet. The silence felt heavy, almost suffocating. I called out for Kate, but there was no response. I shrugged it off, thinking she might be in the shower or lost in a book. I walked down the hallway, my heart racing with anticipation of seeing her smile. But as I reached our bedroom door, I heard muffled voices. My heart sank as I pushed the door open, and what I saw made my blood run cold. There, tangled in the sheets, was Kate, my wife, entwined with Jake, her charming and successful lawyer friend. The shock hit me like a freight train. I stood frozen in the doorway, my mind racing, trying to process the betrayal unfolding before my eyes. "Alex," Kate gasped, her face turning pale as she realized I was there. Jake, on the other hand, merely stared at me with a smug expression, as if he had been waiting for this moment. I felt a surge of rage and heartbreak all at once. My world, once filled with love and trust, had crumbled in an instant. "Get out," I managed to choke out, my voice barely above a whisper. The pain was overwhelming, and the anger bubbled just beneath the surface. I turned on my heel and stormed out of the room, feeling as if the ground beneath me had vanished. I stumbled into the living room, my heart racing and my mind spinning. I wanted to scream, to cry, to do anything to release the agony that was consuming me. How could she do this? How could he? The questions flooded my mind, but I knew I wouldn't find answers today. I grabbed my car keys and left the house, needing to escape the suffocating reality that had just shattered my life. As I drove aimlessly through the streets, I felt a mix of emotions: anger, sadness, confusion. I found myself at the local gym, a place I had frequented in the past but had neglected lately. I parked the car and stepped inside, hoping that the physical exertion would help clear my mind. I hit the weights hard that day, pushing myself beyond my limits. Each representative was a release, a way to channel my pain into something tangible. I could feel the sweat pouring down my face, but I didn't care. I was determined to transform this anguish into strength. I would not let this betrayal define me. That evening, as I lay in bed, the image of Kate and Jake haunted me. I couldn't shake the feeling of betrayal. I knew I had to make a change, not just for myself but for my future. I needed to take control of my life again, to find a way to rise from the ashes of this heartbreak. Little did I know, this was just the beginning of a journey that would lead me to unexpected friendships and new beginnings. The days following the devastating discovery of Kate's infidelity were a blur of emotions. I found myself oscillating between crippling sadness and blinding rage. The pain of betrayal cut deep, leaving me feeling lost and alone. But amidst the chaos of my shattered heart, a glimmer of determination began to take shape. I knew I couldn't continue living in this state of turmoil. Something had to change, and that change had to start with me. I decided to channel my anger and heartbreak into something positive, something that would help me regain control of my life. That's when I remembered the gym. I had always been a regular at the local fitness center, but lately, I had let my routine slip. Now, it felt like the perfect place to focus my energy and find solace. Without hesitation, I signed up for a membership and dove headfirst into a rigorous workout schedule. Every morning, I would wake up before the sun and head to the gym. I would push myself to the limit, lifting weights until my muscles burned and sweat poured down my face. The physical exertion was a welcome distraction from the turmoil in my mind. With each rep, I could feel the tension leaving my body, replaced by a sense of empowerment. As the days turned into weeks, I noticed a change not only in my physical appearance but in my mental state as well. The gym had become my sanctuary, a place where I could escape the pain and focus on becoming the best version of myself. I found solace in the rhythm of my workouts, the steady beat of my heart, and the knowledge that I was taking control of my life. But the real transformation happened when I met Tom. He was a regular at the gym, and we exchanged a few polite nods in passing. One day, as I was finishing up my routine, Tom approached me. He could see the pain in my eyes, the weight of my burdens etched into my face. Without saying a word, he placed a hand on my shoulder and gave me a knowing look. From that moment on, Tom became my confidant, my workout partner, and my friend. He had been through a similar betrayal, and he understood the pain I was going through. Together, we pushed each other to new heights, both physically and emotionally. With Tom by my side, I felt stronger, more resilient, and more determined than ever to move forward. As the weeks turned into months, the gym became more than just a place to work out. It was a symbol of my transformation, a testament to my strength and resilience. With each passing day, I could feel the anger and pain slowly giving way to a renewed sense of purpose. I was no longer defined by Kate's betrayal, I was defined by my determination to rise above it. As the weeks passed, my daily visits to the gym became a ritual, a way to channel my anger and heartbreak into something positive. The physical exertion was a welcome distraction from the turmoil in my mind, and with each passing day, I could feel myself growing stronger, both physically and emotionally. One day, as I was wrapping up my workout, a familiar face approached me. It was Tom, a regular at the gym whom I had exchanged polite nods with in the past. But this time, there was a different look in his eyes, a look of understanding, of shared pain. Without saying a word, Tom placed a hand on my shoulder and gave me a knowing look. At that moment, I knew that he had been through something similar, that he understood the weight of the betrayal I was carrying on my shoulders. We struck up a conversation, and it quickly became clear that we had more in common than just our regular visits to the gym. Tom had also been betrayed by his wife, and he had been on his journey of healing and self-discovery. As we talked, we realized that we were kindred spirits. Two men who had been through the fire of heartbreak and were now determined to rise from the ashes. We shared our stories, our fears, and our hopes for the future, and in doing so, we formed a bond that transcended the walls of the gym. From that day on, Tom became my workout partner, my confidant, and my friend. Together, we pushed each other to new heights, both physically and emotionally. We challenged each other to dig deeper, to push past our limits, and to never give up on ourselves. With Tom by my side, I felt stronger, more resilient, and more determined than ever to move forward. He became a constant source of support and encouragement, reminding me that I was not alone in this journey and that together, we could overcome anything. As the months passed, our friendship grew stronger, and we began to talk about more than just our workouts. We discussed our dreams, our goals, and our plans for the future. And as we did so, a new idea began to take shape, the idea of starting our own business. It was a bold move, a way to take control of our lives and create something meaningful out of the ashes of our past. And with Tom by my side, I knew that anything was possible. Together, we would forge a new path, one that would lead us away from the pain of the past and toward a brighter future. The months of hard work at the gym had transformed me in ways I never expected. I was not only stronger physically, but I was also beginning to reclaim my sense of self and purpose. The bond I had formed with Tom had become a lifeline, a source of motivation and inspiration that pushed me to dream bigger. As we spent countless hours lifting weights and sharing our stories, an idea began to take root in my mind, an idea that would change everything. One evening, after an intense workout session, Tom and I sat on the gym floor, catching our breath. The fluorescent lights cast a warm glow around us, and the sounds of weights clanging and treadmills humming created a comforting backdrop. It was during this moment of camaraderie that I shared my vision with Tom. What if we opened our fitness center? I proposed, the words spilling out before I could second-guess myself. A place where people can come not just to work out, but to find a community, to heal, and to grow. Tom's eyes lit up with enthusiasm. That's an incredible idea. We've both been through so much, and we understand what it's like to need a fresh start. We could create a space that truly supports people on their journeys. With that conversation, the seed was planted. Over the next few weeks, we brainstormed ideas, researched the fitness industry, and mapped out our vision. We wanted our fitness center to be more than just a gym. We envisioned it as a sanctuary where individuals could find strength, physically, mentally, and emotionally. We settled on a name, Rise Fitness. It symbolized our journey of rising from the ashes of our pasts and embracing a new chapter in our lives. The name resonated with us both, and it became the driving force behind our plans. We spent countless hours scouting locations, meeting with potential investors, and crafting a business plan. The excitement was palpable, and with each step forward, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. It was as if I had finally found a way to channel my pain into something meaningful. As we finalized the details, I realized that this venture was not just about fitness, it was about healing. We wanted to create a community where people could come together, share their struggles, and support one another. A place where they could find strength in vulnerability and solace in shared experiences. Finally, the day arrived when we signed the lease for our first location. Standing in the space, I felt a rush of emotions, fear, excitement, and a sense of accomplishment. This was it. This was the new beginning I had been searching for. We worked tirelessly to transform the space into a welcoming environment. We painted the walls, installed equipment, and created cozy areas for group classes and workshops. As we worked, Tom and I shared our vision with others, and soon, a team of passionate trainers and staff joined us. All eager to be part of something special. The grand opening of Rise Fitness was a day I would never forget. The energy in the air was electric as we welcomed our first members. I looked around at the smiling faces, the laughter, and the camaraderie forming among strangers, and I felt a profound sense of fulfillment. This was more than just a gym, it was a community, a haven for those seeking to rise above their challenges. At that moment, I knew I had made the right decision. I had taken the pain of betrayal and transformed it into a beacon of hope for others. With Tom by my side, we were ready to embark on this new journey together, helping others find their strength while continuing to heal ourselves. Rise Fitness was not just a new beginning for me, it was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the power of friendship. As the excitement of opening Rise Fitness settled into a steady rhythm, I found myself reflecting on the events that had led me to this point. While I was grateful for the new beginning, the anger I felt towards Jake still simmered beneath the surface. I couldn't shake the feeling that I needed to confront him, not just for my peace of mind, but to ensure that he couldn't hurt anyone else the way he had hurt me. One evening, as Tom and I wrapped up a workout, I shared my thoughts with him. I can't just let this go. I need to know more about Jake. There has to be something in his past that can help me understand the kind of person he is. Tom nodded thoughtfully. You're right. If we're going to confront him, we should arm ourselves with information. Let's dig into his past and see what we can find. Fueled by our shared determination, we decided to hire a private investigator. We wanted someone who could uncover any skeletons in Jake's closet, financial troubles, questionable legal practices, anything that could give us leverage. We knew that knowledge was power, and we were determined to take control of the situation. After a few days of research, we found a reputable investigator named Sarah. She had a no-nonsense attitude and a keen eye for detail, which made her the perfect fit for our mission. We met with her in a small cafe, laying out our concerns and what we hoped to uncover. I'll dig into his professional background, any legal issues, and personal connections, Sarah assured us. It may take some time, but I'll keep you updated. As we left the cafe, a sense of anticipation washed over us. For the first time since discovering Kate's betrayal, I felt a glimmer of hope. If we could find something on Jake, it might give me the closure I needed, or at the very least, a way to confront him on my terms. Days turned into weeks as we waited for Sarah to gather information. During that time, Tom and I focused on building our fitness center and supporting our growing community. But still, the thought of Jake lingered in the back of my mind, a constant reminder of the pain I was determined to overcome. Finally, the day arrived when Sarah called us in for a meeting. My heart raced as we entered her office, eager to hear what she had uncovered. She sat across from us with a stack of documents, her expression serious. I found some interesting information about Jake, she began, flipping through the papers. He's had a few legal run-ins that you might want to know about. As she detailed Jake's past, I felt a mix of anger and satisfaction. He had been involved in several questionable legal cases, including allegations of misconduct and unethical behavior. There were whispers of clients who had accused him of taking advantage of their trust. It was everything I had hoped to find and more. Additionally, Sarah continued, I discovered that he has a history of failed relationships, often leaving a trail of broken hearts behind him. It seems he has a pattern of manipulation. Tom and I exchanged glances, the weight of her words sinking in. This was the ammunition we needed to confront Jake, to expose him for who he truly was. We weren't just fighting for ourselves, we were fighting for anyone who might fall victim to his charm. With Sarah's findings in hand, we began to formulate a plan. We would confront Jake, armed with the knowledge of his past. It was time to take back control, to stand up for ourselves and for the women who had been hurt by him. The anger that had once consumed me was now transformed into a fierce determination to seek justice. As we left Sarah's office, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. I was no longer just a victim of Jake's betrayal, I was a man ready to fight back. With Tom by my side, I knew we could face whatever came next. The investigation had opened a door to a new chapter in my life, one where I would no longer be defined by the pain of the past, but by my strength and resolve to move forward. As the months passed, Rise Fitness began to thrive. Word of our unique approach to fitness and community spread quickly, and soon, our membership numbers were soaring. People from all walks of life were drawn to our welcoming atmosphere and the sense of camaraderie that permeated every corner of the gym. Tom and I poured our hearts and souls into making Rise Fitness a success. We carefully curated our team of trainers, ensuring that each one shared our vision of creating a supportive and empowering environment. We organized events, workshops, and group challenges that brought our members together and fostered a sense of belonging. I found myself immersed in the day-to-day operations of the gym, and it was a welcome distraction from the personal turmoil I had been facing. The long hours spent planning, managing, and problem-solving left little room for dwelling on the past. Instead, I found myself focusing on the present and the future, driven by a desire to make Rise Fitness the best it could be. As the business grew, so did my sense of pride and accomplishment. I had taken a leap of faith, and it was paying off. I channeled my pain and anger into something positive, creating a space that was changing lives and bringing people together. It was a far cry from the broken man I had been just a year ago, and the transformation filled me with a sense of pride and self-assurance. One day, as I was walking through the gym, I overheard a conversation between two members. They were discussing how Rise Fitness had helped them through difficult times. As the gym continued to thrive, I found myself becoming more and more involved in the local community. We organized charity events, partnered with local businesses, and even started a scholarship program for underprivileged youth. It was important to me that Rise Fitness wasn't just a business, but a force for good in the world. I found myself becoming a mentor to many of our members, sharing my own story of transformation and encouraging them to never give up on their dreams. It was a role that came naturally to me and one that filled me with a sense of purpose and fulfillment. Amid all this success, I couldn't help but reflect on how far I had come. A year ago, I had been a broken man, consumed by anger and pain. But now, I am a successful business owner, a community leader, and a mentor to others. I had taken control of my life and turned it into something extraordinary. Of course, the pain of the past never fully went away. There were still moments when the memories of Kate's betrayal would come flooding back, leaving me feeling raw and vulnerable. But those moments were fewer and farther between, and I had learned to face them with resilience and grace. As I looked around at the thriving community that had grown up around Rise Fitness, I felt a sense of pride and accomplishment that I had never known before. This was my legacy, my contribution to the world. And it was a testament to the power of the human spirit to rise above even the most devastating of circumstances. As the success of Rise Fitness continued to flourish, I found myself increasingly immersed in my new life. The gym had become my sanctuary, a place where I could focus on my goals and help others find their strength. Yet, despite the joy and fulfillment I felt, the shadow of my past still lingered, particularly when it came to Kate. One afternoon, while I was at the gym, I received a text message that sent a jolt through my system. It was from Kate. "Can we talk? I need to explain," it read. My heart raced as I read her words, a mix of anger and curiosity flooding over me. Part of me wanted to ignore her completely, to pretend she didn't exist. But another part of me was desperate to understand what had happened, to hear her side of the story. After much deliberation, I decided to agree to meet her. I needed closure, and perhaps this conversation would provide some answers. I arranged to meet her at a small cafe near the gym, a neutral ground where we could talk without the weight of our past hanging over us. When I arrived, I spotted Kate sitting at a corner table, her hands nervously fidgeting with a napkin. She looked different, more fragile. Perhaps, the confidence I once knew seemed to have evaporated, leaving behind a woman who appeared lost and remorseful. As I approached, I felt a mix of emotions swirling within me, anger, sadness, and a flicker of sympathy. "Thanks for meeting me," she said softly, her voice barely above a whisper. I nodded, taking a seat across from her. The air between us was thick with tension, and I could sense the weight of unspoken words hanging in the air. I've wanted to talk to you for so long. She continued, her eyes searching mine for understanding. I know I hurt you, and I can't express how sorry I am. I took a deep breath, trying to remain composed. You shattered my trust, Kate. I don't know if I can ever fully understand why you did it. She nodded, tears welling in her eyes. I know. I made a terrible mistake. I was feeling lost in our marriage, and I let my insecurities get the best of me. Jake was there, and I thought he could fill a void I didn't even understand. Her words struck a chord within me, but I couldn't let myself feel sympathy just yet. So, you thought cheating was the answer? You didn't consider how it would affect me? Us? I didn't think, she admitted, her voice trembling. I was selfish and foolish. I never wanted to hurt you, Alex. I loved you, and I still do. I lost my way. As she spoke, I felt a whirlwind of emotions crashing over me. Part of me wanted to reach out, to comfort her, but the other part was still raw with pain. You have to understand, Kate, that what you did changed everything. I can't just forget it. I know, she replied, her voice breaking. I'm not asking you to forgive me right now. I just wanted you to hear me out, to know that I regret my actions every single day. I've been going to therapy, trying to understand my choices and how to be better. I could see the sincerity in her eyes, the genuine remorse etched on her face. But even with her honesty, I felt a wall between us that I wasn't ready to break down. I appreciate you sharing this with me, but I'm still not ready to talk about us. I need time to process everything. Kate nodded, tears spilling down her cheeks. I understand. I just hope that one day, you can find it in your heart to forgive me. As I left the cafe, I felt a mix of relief and confusion. I had finally heard Kate's side of the story, but it hadn't brought me the closure I had hoped for. Instead, it had opened up a floodgate of emotions that I wasn't sure how to navigate. The conversation lingered in my mind long after we parted ways. I realized that while I had made significant strides in my journey of healing, the wounds from my past were still fresh. I wasn't ready to forgive, but perhaps I was ready to begin the process of understanding. It was a step forward, albeit a small one. With each passing day, I focused on my work at Rise Fitness and the community we were building. I knew that healing took time, and I was committed to taking that time for myself. The road ahead was still uncertain, but I was determined to keep moving forward, one step at a time. The weeks following my meeting with Kate were a mix of emotional turmoil and newfound determination. While I had started to process my feelings about her, my anger toward Jake remained a constant presence in my mind. I knew that confronting him was inevitable, but I wanted to be prepared. That's when Sarah, our private investigator, reached out with news that would change everything. One afternoon, as I was wrapping up a meeting at Rise Fitness, my phone buzzed with a message from Sarah. I have some important information about Jake. Can we meet? My heart raced at the thought of finally having something concrete against him. I quickly arranged to meet her at a nearby cafe. When I arrived, Sarah was already seated, her expression serious. She slid a folder across the table, and I felt a rush of adrenaline as I opened it. Inside were documents detailing Jake's questionable legal practices. There were records of clients who had filed complaints against him, alleging unethical behavior and misconduct. Some of the claims were serious, including accusations of fraud and manipulation. This is just the tip of the iceberg, Sarah explained, her voice low. I dug deeper into his background, and it appears he has a history of exploiting vulnerable clients. He's been reprimanded by the Bar Association multiple times, but somehow he always manages to wiggle out of trouble. I felt a surge of satisfaction as I read through the documents. This was the ammunition I needed to confront Jake, to expose him for the fraud he truly was. How did you find all this? I asked, still in disbelief. I have my sources, she replied with a slight smile. But it took some digging. I knew there had to be something more to his polished exterior. As I absorbed the information, a plan began to form in my mind. I didn't want to just confront Jake. I wanted to ensure that he understood the consequences of his actions. I wanted him to know that he couldn't just walk away from the pain he had caused. Not without facing the repercussions. Let's keep this under wraps for now, I said to Sarah, my mind racing. I want to confront him on my terms. I need to be ready when the time comes. Sarah nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. Just be careful. You're dealing with someone who knows how to play the game. He may try to manipulate the situation in his favor. With the folder tucked under my arm, I left the cafe feeling a mix of empowerment and apprehension. I had the upper hand now. But I knew that confronting Jake wouldn't be easy. He was a skilled lawyer, and I had to be strategic in how I approached him. Over the next few days, I couldn't shake the feeling of anticipation. I shared the news with Tom, who was equally excited about the prospect of finally holding Jake accountable. Together, we devised a plan to confront him, ensuring that we had all our bases covered. We decided to arrange a meeting with Jake under the guise of wanting to discuss some unresolved issues regarding his relationship with Kate. I wanted him to feel comfortable, to let his guard down before we dropped the bombshell. It was a risky move, but I was determined to see it through. As the day of the meeting approached, I felt a mix of nerves and adrenaline coursing through my veins. I had spent so long feeling powerless, but now, with the evidence in hand, I felt a sense of control I hadn't experienced in a long time. This was my chance to reclaim my narrative, to stand up for myself and for everyone Jake had hurt. When the day finally arrived, I met Tom at the gym before heading to the meeting. "Are you ready for this?" he asked, his expression serious. "As ready as I'll ever be," I replied, taking a deep breath. "It's time to show Jake that he can't get away with his actions." With our plan in place, we set off to confront Jake, determined to take back the power that had been stripped away from me. I knew that no matter what happened, I was ready to face him and finally put an end to this chapter of my life. The trump card was in my hands, and I was prepared to play it. The day had finally arrived. My heart raced as Tom and I made our way to the upscale restaurant where we had arranged to meet Jake. The atmosphere was bustling, filled with the sounds of clinking glasses and lively conversations, but all I could focus on was the confrontation that lay ahead. I felt a mix of anticipation and anxiety, knowing that this meeting could change everything. As we entered the restaurant, I spotted Jake sitting at a corner table, casually scrolling through his phone. He looked up as we approached, a confident smile spreading across his face. "Alex, Tom, good to see you guys. What's this about?" he asked, feigning ignorance. "Let's cut the small talk, Jake," I said, my voice steady but firm. I took a seat across from him, and Tom sat beside me, his presence a reassuring anchor. "We need to talk about you and Kate." Jake's expression shifted slightly, a flicker of concern crossing his face. "What about Kate? We're just friends. Alex, you know that. Friends don't sleep together, Jake," I shot back, my anger bubbling to the surface. "You betrayed my trust and destroyed my marriage. And I want to know why." He leaned back in his chair, a smirk playing at the corners of his mouth. "Come on, Alex. Do you think this is about you? Kate and I had a connection that you didn't provide. She was looking for something more, and I was there for her." I felt my blood boil at his arrogance. "You think this is a game? You used her vulnerability to get what you wanted. And now, you think you can just walk away from the mess you've created?" Jake's demeanor shifted slightly, the confidence waning as he realized I wasn't backing down. "Look, I didn't mean for things to get complicated. But you need to understand that Kate made her own choices. Choices you manipulated," I countered, pulling out the folder Sarah had given me. I placed it on the table, letting it slide toward him. "You see this? This is just a glimpse into your past, your unethical practices. Your manipulations. I know all about your little game, Jake." He glanced at the folder, his expression hardening. "What are you trying to do here, Alex? You think you can intimidate me with some documents?" "No," I replied, my voice low and steady. "I'm not trying to intimidate you. I'm giving you a choice. You can either walk away from Kate and leave us alone, or I will make this information public. I will ensure that everyone knows the kind of person you are." For a moment, there was silence between us, the weight of my words hanging in the air. Jake's bravado began to crack as he processed the implications of my threat. "You wouldn't do that," he said, though there was a hint of uncertainty in his voice. "Try me," I replied, leaning forward. "I've spent too long feeling powerless because of you. I won't let you continue to hurt others. This is your chance to step back and leave Kate and me out of your life for good." Jake's expression shifted from arrogance to frustration. "You think you can just come in here and dictate terms to me? I'm a lawyer, Alex. I know how to play this game. Then you know how this can end for you," I shot back. "You can either walk away now or face the consequences of your actions. The choice is yours." He sat back in his chair, a mix of anger and defeat flickering across his face. The confidence that had once radiated from him was now replaced with a palpable tension. "You're playing a dangerous game, Alex." "I'm done playing games, Jake," I said firmly. "This is about protecting myself and Kate. You've had your fun, but it's over. I'm taking back control of my life, and I won't let you manipulate anyone else." As I stood up to leave, I could see the realization dawning on him. The power dynamic had shifted, and he was no longer in control. "You think this is the end?" he called after me, his voice laced with frustration. "No," I replied, turning back to face him. "This is just the beginning. You'll think twice before crossing me again." With that, Tom and I walked out of the restaurant, a sense of triumph washing over me. I had confronted Jake, exposed his true nature, and taken back the power he had stolen from me. It was a pivotal moment in my journey, one that marked the end of my victimhood and the start of my reclamation. As we stepped outside, I felt lighter, as if a weight had been lifted from my shoulders. I knew that I still had a long way to go in my healing process, but this confrontation had been a crucial step in reclaiming my life. With Tom by my side, I was ready to face whatever came next. Determined to move forward and embrace the future I was building for myself. The confrontation with Jake had been a turning point for me. I felt empowered, as though I had finally taken control of my life after months of turmoil. But as I returned to Rise Fitness, I couldn't shake the feeling that the real battle was still ahead. The next step would involve Kate, and I knew that our paths would cross again soon. A few days later, I received a text from Kate asking if we could meet. My heart raced as I read her message. Part of me wanted to ignore her completely, to keep the walls I had built around myself intact. But another part of me knew that we needed to talk. I agreed to meet her at a park, a neutral and peaceful setting where we could have an honest conversation. When I arrived, I found Kate sitting on a bench, her expression a mix of anxiety and determination. She looked up as I approached, and I could see the weight of her choices etched on her face. "Thank you for meeting me," she said quietly. I took a seat beside her, my heart pounding in my chest. "What do you want to talk about, Kate?" She took a deep breath, her hands trembling slightly. "I've been doing a lot of thinking since our last conversation. I know I hurt you deeply, and I can't express how sorry I am for my actions." I nodded, my emotions still raw. "You broke my trust, Kate. It's not something that can be easily repaired." "I know," she replied, tears welling in her eyes. "But I've had time to reflect on everything. And I realize that I don't want to lose you. I don't want to lose our marriage. I want to fight for us." Her words hit me like a tidal wave. Part of me longed to hear her say that, to know that she still cared. But another part of me was hesitant, still reeling from the pain of her betrayal. "You were so quick to throw it all away with Jake. Why should I believe that you're truly committed to making things work now?" "Because I've learned from my mistakes," she said, her voice trembling. "I've been going to therapy, and I'm working on understanding why I made those choices. I know I can't change the past, but I want to change the future. I want to be a better person, a better wife." I could see the sincerity in her eyes, but doubt lingered in the back of my mind. "What about Jake? You can't just pretend he doesn't exist. He's still in the picture." "I ended things with him," she said firmly. "I told him I wanted nothing to do with him anymore. I realized that he was a distraction, a way to escape from my issues. But I don't want that anymore. I want to work on our marriage, to rebuild what we had." The weight of her words hung in the air, and I felt a flicker of hope. But I also knew that rebuilding trust would take time and effort from both of us. "It's not going to be easy, Kate. Trust doesn't come back overnight." "I know," she replied, her voice steady. "But I'm willing to put in the work. I want to go to couples therapy, to figure this out together. I want to show you that I can be the partner you deserve." As I listened to her, I felt a mix of emotions, hope, fear, and uncertainty. The idea of giving our marriage another chance was both terrifying and exhilarating. But could I truly forgive her? Could I let go of the pain she had caused? "Kate, I need time to think about this," I said finally, my voice low. "I'm not ready to make any decisions right now." She nodded, understanding the gravity of my words. "I get it. Just know that I'm here, and I want to fight for you. I want to fight for us." As we sat in silence, I felt the weight of her words settling over me. The choice lay before me, and it was a heavy one. I had spent so long trying to reclaim my life, to build something new after the devastation of her betrayal. But the thought of losing Kate entirely felt unbearable. At that moment, I realized that I didn't want to give up on us just yet. There was a part of me that still loved her, that wanted to believe in the possibility of healing and growth. But it would take time, patience, and a willingness to face the past together. Let's take it one step at a time, I finally said, my voice steady. I'm not ready to fully commit, but I'm willing to explore the possibility of rebuilding our marriage. It won't be easy, but I think we owe it to ourselves to try. A look of relief washed over her face, and I could see hope flickering in her eyes. Thank you, Alex. I promise I won't take this for granted. As we walked away from the park, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. The road ahead would be challenging, but I was ready to face it. Together, we would navigate the complexities of our relationship, one step at a time. It was a choice I was willing to make, a choice that held the potential for healing and redemption. The decision to give our marriage another chance was not one I took lightly. As I navigated the complexities of my emotions, I realized that forgiveness was not just a gift I could give to Kate, it was a necessary step for my healing. I had spent so long carrying the weight of anger and betrayal. And I knew that if I wanted to move forward, I had to let go of the past. With that realization, I approached Kate one evening after dinner. I've been thinking a lot about us, I began, my heart racing. I want to try to forgive you. I want to start fresh. Her eyes widened in surprise, and I could see the hope blossoming within her. Are you serious? She asked, her voice trembling with emotion. I am, I replied, my voice steady. But I need you to understand that this is going to take time. We can't just pretend everything is okay. We need to work on rebuilding our trust. Kate nodded, tears of relief streaming down her cheeks. I'm willing to do whatever it takes, Alex. I want to show you that I can be the partner you deserve. We decided to seek couples therapy, recognizing that we needed professional guidance to navigate the complexities of our relationship. Our first session was both daunting and enlightening. As we sat in the therapist's office, I felt vulnerable but also hopeful. It was a safe space where we could express our feelings without judgment. Our therapist, Dr. Stevens, encouraged us to share our thoughts openly. It's important to understand that forgiveness is a process, she said gently. It doesn't happen overnight, and it requires both partners to be committed to the journey. As we spoke, I found myself opening up about my feelings of betrayal and hurt. Kate, in turn, expressed her remorse and the deep regret she felt for her actions. It was a cathartic experience, and I could feel the walls I had built around my heart beginning to crack. Over the following weeks, we continued our therapy sessions, each one bringing us closer together. We learned effective communication techniques, how to express our needs and desires, and the importance of vulnerability in rebuilding our connection. I began to see Kate not just as the woman who had hurt me, but as a person who was genuinely committed to making amends. As we progressed, I noticed subtle changes in our relationship. We started spending more quality time together, rediscovering the joy we had once shared. We went on walks, cooked meals together, and even revisited some of our favorite date spots. Each moment was a step toward healing, a chance to create new memories that would replace the painful ones. One evening, as we sat on the couch watching a movie, I turned to Kate and smiled. I can feel us getting stronger, I said, my heart swelling with hope. It's not easy, but I believe we're on the right path. She smiled back, her eyes shining with gratitude. I feel it too. Thank you for being willing to forgive me. It means the world to me. As the weeks turned into months, I found myself slowly letting go of the anger that had once consumed me. I learned to trust Kate again, not just in her words but in her actions. She was proving to me, day by day, that she was committed to our marriage and to being the partner I needed. One day, during a therapy session, Dr. Stevens asked us to reflect on our journey. What does forgiveness look like for both of you? She inquired. I took a moment to think before responding. For me, forgiveness means releasing the hold that the past has on me. It's about allowing myself to love and trust Kate again without the constant weight of betrayal. Kate nodded, her voice soft. And for me, forgiveness is about showing Alex that I'm dedicated to making things right. I want to earn his trust back, and I'm willing to put in the effort to do so. As we continued our journey, I realized that forgiveness was not a destination but a continuous process. There were still moments when the memories of the past would resurface, but I learned to acknowledge them without letting them define our present. With each passing day, our bond grew stronger. We were no longer just two people trying to navigate the aftermath of betrayal, we were partners committed to rebuilding our lives together. The love we shared began to blossom anew, rooted in understanding, empathy, and a shared desire for a brighter future. As I looked at Kate, I felt a sense of peace wash over me. We were writing a new chapter together, one filled with hope, healing, and the promise of a love that could withstand the trials of life. I knew that the road ahead would still have its challenges, but I was ready to face them hand in hand with the woman I had chosen to forgive. Together, we were creating a future that was worth fighting for. A year had passed since that pivotal moment when I decided to forgive Kate and give our marriage another chance. Looking back, I could hardly recognize the man I had been then, the one consumed by anger and betrayal. Through hard work, therapy, and a commitment to one another, Kate and I had transformed our relationship into something stronger and more beautiful than I ever thought possible. Our marriage had blossomed into a partnership built on trust, understanding, and mutual respect. We had navigated the complexities of our past, and instead of being defined by our mistakes, we had chosen to grow from them. Our love had deepened, and I found myself falling for Kate all over again, not just for who she was but for the journey we had taken together. As we sat on the porch of our home one warm summer evening, watching the sun dip below the horizon, I turned to Kate, a smile spreading across my face. "Can you believe how far we've come?" I asked, taking her hand in mine. She smiled back, her eyes sparkling with joy. "It feels like a lifetime ago. I'm so grateful for everything we've built together." But as we enjoyed this newfound peace, a thought began to take shape in my mind. While Rise Fitness had been a significant part of our journey, I felt a tug toward a new adventure, one that would allow us to fully embrace our fresh start. "Kate," I began slowly, "what do you think about selling the gym?" Her brow furrowed in confusion. "Sell the gym? But it's been such a big part of our lives." "I know," I replied, "but I feel like we've outgrown it. We've built something beautiful here. But I think it's time for us to explore new horizons. I want us to start fresh in a new city, away from everything that reminds us of the past." Kate considered my words, and I could see the wheels turning in her mind. "You might be right. A new city could allow us to redefine ourselves and create new memories together." With that, we began to discuss the possibility of relocating. We spent evenings researching different cities, weighing the pros and cons of each location. We envisioned a place where we could both thrive, where we could continue to grow as individuals and as a couple. After weeks of deliberation, we settled on a vibrant city known for its artistic community and outdoor activities. It felt like the perfect fit for us, a place where we could truly start anew. Once we made our decision, we put Rise Fitness on the market. It was bittersweet to say goodbye to the gym that had been a cornerstone of our lives, but we knew it was the right choice. We found a buyer who shared our vision for the gym and was excited to carry it forward. As we signed the papers, I felt a sense of closure wash over me. With the sale finalized, we began packing up our lives, ready to embrace the unknown. The process was filled with a mix of excitement and nostalgia as we sorted through our belongings, reminiscing about the memories we had created in our home. Each box we packed represented a chapter in our lives, and with each item, we felt lighter, ready to move forward. Finally, the day came when we loaded up the moving truck and set off for our new adventure. As we drove through the city streets, I could feel the weight of the past lifting off my shoulders. We were leaving behind the pain and heartache, stepping into a future filled with possibility. Once we arrived at our new home, we were greeted by the warmth of the sun and the sound of laughter from the neighborhood children playing outside. It felt like a fresh start, a blank canvas waiting for us to paint our new life together. In the months that followed, we settled into our new city. Exploring local cafes, parks, and art galleries, we made new friends and built a community that felt like home. Kate and I often reflected on our journey, grateful for the lessons we had learned and the love that had blossomed from the ashes of our past. As we stood together one evening, watching the sunset from our new porch, I turned to Kate and said, "I never thought we could come this far. I'm so glad we took this leap together." She smiled, her eyes shining with love. "Me too. I believe this is just the beginning of our next chapter." With our hearts full of hope and excitement, we embraced the future together, ready to face whatever challenges and adventures lay ahead. Our journey had taught us the power of forgiveness, resilience, and love, and we were determined to carry those lessons with us as we stepped into this new horizon. Together, we were ready to write the next chapter of our lives, one filled with joy, growth, and endless possibilities.